Hey there, this is Aluna Michaels, Esoteric Astrologer. How are you all doing, YouTubers? Sorry this is a little bit late, my May forecast for 2014. I am preparing to move from Michigan to Florida, so my June is going to be early because I have to make sure I got it done for you guys before I go, but May has been late, so sorry about that. And this is an interesting month, May. I mean, in a way, there's not a whole lot going on, but the things that are going on are like, whoa, you know, kind of big. So just this few things are going to add up. Let's talk about May 19th, 20th is when Mars goes direct. And we'll talk about that and then kind of backtrack to now. But Mars is the planet of aggression, anger, but it's also clarity and decisions and, you know, energy levels and things like that. So Mars doesn't retrograde very often, and people can get really frustrated in general when Mars is retrograde. It's retrograding in Libra, and it went retrograde actually at 27 degrees of Libra on March 1st or so. And it's going forward in Libra at 9 degrees. So if you have something, you know, if you have a planet at 9 degrees of Libra or around there, you'll be feeling it. Even if it retrograded on one of your planets or making an angle to one of your planets, you're going to feel it also as it goes forward. And you know, just a quick note about that, Mars won't catch up to where it did retrograde until July. But even if, let's pretend your moon sign is 27 Libra and Mars retrograded on it, well, you know, you want it to go back to 27 Libra and move forward. You know, I'm out of that cycle, you know, and I've made decisions and all this kind of thing. But because it's going forward, even if it's not going to make the exact connection with your planet till later, just the going forward is going to help you. So don't think you should wait to make decisions or whatever. It's a good energy to say yes. You know, if you feel the yes, go for it, you know? But when Mars is retrograde, especially as it's slowing down to turn direct, people are very tense. You know, think of people waiting for a long time in a traffic jam, and then, you know, they start with the horns and like, I'm losing it, you know? So as Mars is stationing, we say going slower. Very tense for Mars. Mars likes to go, go, go. So to slow down is just grrr. So just the whole month of May, or at least until the 19th, 20th, it's tense, you know, and people are feeling frustrated. And this is third dimensional type things, but you know, you'll encounter a lot of that. When it goes forward, it's like sometimes there can be blow-ups or, you know, all this kind of like a pressure cooker being released. It can be a relief, I can get stuff done, or I have the energy, I'm going to make the decisions, but people can also kind of explode, especially because Libra is not a sign that likes to talk about their feelings, right? So when Mars is retrograde, a lot of people, Mars and Libra in general, people aren't saying exactly how they feel. It's like, oh, well, how do you feel? Okay, well, I can't feel that way because you're feeling that way. So people can build up with tension, you know, in general. Then when it's retrograde, yeah, then on top of it, so when it's going forward, like especially in relationships, because Libra has a lot to do with one-on-one relationships. So, you know, with your spouse, it could just blow up at you about blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I didn't even know that was a problem. Well, they might have been holding it in because the Mars retrograding in Libra. I don't get to say what I feel. And all of a sudden, I'm going to say what I feel. You know, so you can watch out. At one level, it's like, I get to say what I feel and I'm open, I feel free, or it can be this tension and you're like, whoa. So if you can have some compassion to people that are feeling explosive, you know, and it would be real important to say to people like, you know, I want to hear what your needs are. I want to know. And, you know, and maybe setting up some avenues of better communication of, you know, why didn't you feel you could tell me this before? Or what did I do to make you think you couldn't tell me? You know, and that also can be that people are stressed about other parts of their lives where they, like say at work, where they can't say what they feel and then they explode on you because, well, I can now tell you what I feel. And it really isn't about you and what was going on at home. It was more about work or other situations. So just to kind of try to watch your feelings of just reacting back to people reacting to their tension. That's a good thing. Now on a spiritual level though, Mars retrograde is great because it can be about you know, your priorities in life. You know, because normally Mars, you know, again, go, 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 want it, do it, go, go, without really thinking about where is this all going or what is this all about, and can be some like wasted energy in a lot of ways, you know, because Mars just does stuff. So when it's retrograde, it's like, why do I do that thing? You know, about compulsions or obsessive things, or just in general, like, what are my plans? What are my goals? Is what I'm doing getting to where I want to be? So Mars retrograde can be really good about that, about examining what you normally do and how you use your time and your energy. So when it does go forward, it's like, okay, now I'm a wiser steward of this energy and using it to the most clean sort of way, and the way that's really getting me to my spiritual goals. You know, another thing about the Mars retrograde being in Libra is what people are you involved with in relationships? Do they respect you? Do they listen to you? You know, do you need to let some of these relationships go, or do you need to create new standards in, hey, you know, you need to take me into account too? But examining yourself, why am I in these relationships, you know? Or how can I be more clear about what is important? And you know, that statement, pick your battles, it's kind of like that with Mars retrograde. Like, what is important enough to fight for, and what do I just need to let go of? And can I stay in a relationship if I need to just let go of that? Or do I need to let go of the relationship totally? Because it's like, I'm letting go of so much, this is just a waste of my time. So all those things, when you're on a spiritual path, can be very helpful. Just to note too, sometimes people have trouble sleeping with that Mars. You know, so again, people are a little bit tenser. That's why extra meditation is good. Being careful about, Mars represents like inflammation, and can be like, Libra especially is kind of like the lower back area. So just, this is just sort of basic stuff, but be careful about picking things up, because your hidden tension, or like, oh, I wish I could tell so-and-so something, and then you pick something up and, oh, my back, you know, and that's, so Mars can represent those heated areas of the body. So just being careful around that time about putting your frustration into your body and getting some sort of minor injury. Even sometimes sore throats. I notice for me, like, I almost feel like I'm going to get a sore throat when I have a little Mars transit, and that could be, you know, am I speaking up, or you know, or just I need to be quiet, you know, and meditate more and not waste energy in talking. Okay, so that being said, that Mars is, just to know, Mars is in Libra now, but Mars is linked with Aries, and the planet Venus is going to be in Aries in May, and just basically the whole month of May we're going to have Mars and Venus in Aries, and that just went in yesterday, the 3rd, and it will go out on the 28th of May. So Venus in Aries can be very impulsive. There can be a lot of spending, or getting involved in relationships really quickly if you're single, and just again, kind of needing to look where you're leaping. And again, we should talk about the spending a little bit, because Venus in Aries, Venus is money, and you know, Aries is like, yeah, you know, just so like, do it, spend, you know, or it's Venus is relationships, and Aries, yeah, like, wait, what am I doing? And then if we look at the other part, Mars is Aries' planet, and then Libra is Venus' planet. So we've got Mars in Libra, Venus in Aries. That it's called mutual reception. So it's kind of saying, let's think about what we're doing in relationships, think about what we're doing with money, you know, and not just jumping. And especially as Mars is still retrograde and Venus is in Aries, that's one thing to watch out for, being sort of the compulsive spending, even maybe compulsive eating. That wouldn't be a specific way it's going, but Venus has to do with pleasures, and so just sort of like doing things without consequence, and just looking, am I channeling frustration into these areas, or again with, you know, relationship things, like, you know, just going too far in a relationship and then thinking, you know, what am I doing with this person, or even feeling like I have to be in a relationship, or putting a lot of weight on the relationship to fill your needs, instead of meditating first and getting a strong sense of spiritual balance before going to the partner. So those can be some things that are coming up before that Mars goes direct, where you're feeling, you know, fill my needs. And so just being aware of that. Now, the next thing to talk about is Mercury is going into Gemini, which is always fun. That's going to be on the 8th of May, and it will stay in Gemini until, hang on a second, I just need to check something. Okay, well, this is a caveat here. It's going to go into Cancer on the 29th, but then next month in June, Mercury is going to retrograde, so we'll go back into Gemini for a while. So that's one of the things to think about here. So again, with Mars Mercury in Gemini, it's also real fast. So the whole energy of May is like trying to go fast and maybe not, and it's just like these great ideas. Even though Mercury's direct now, it's gonna go retrograde. It's like just thinking things through and waiting it out is best. Because there's a huge consciousness shift that comes up, of course, with the Mars going forward and then Mercury going retrograde. So just kind of, you know, noting the kind of changes you'd want to make, or the shifts, and just hanging in there with that energy. For those of you who are, you know, take over notice of the Mercury retrograde, people like to know, see, Mercury doesn't actually go retrograde until the 7th of June. And it retrogrades back to 24 degrees of Gemini, which would be at the last day of June, 1st of July. So then we say, okay, when is Mercury 24 degrees of Gemini before it goes retrograde? That is on May 23rd. So we get this sort of pre-Mercury retrograde, and I've always noticed that tends to be, for people, more frustrating than the actual Mercury retrograde. And so we'd say, okay, between the 23rd of May and the 6th or 7th of June, that can be even more confusing and stuff with communication and all that. So I think just having some patience during that time, and again, when you're on a spiritual path, knowing that other people are more battered around by these forces than you are. You know, they're not aware of other forces, and they just aren't thinking in a big picture. So it's like, getting my needs met. You know, why can't I get blah blah? And so you have to cut people a lot of slack during this time. So, but it is a great time, you know, again, for meditation, examining your motives, examining your goals. How am I getting to these goals? So for you, that's what it's all about. And then again, cutting the people to slack. And this can be also a time of great improvement in relationships with that Mars finally going forward in Libra. So, and especially if you're have a partner that likes to meditate, working together with meditation would be great. And just another thing too, that Mars does represent sexuality as well. So there can be big shifts, positive shifts in sexuality with partners, and you're able to communicate about that. And ways that you even felt were impasses can be healed, and each people getting their needs met of whatever that would have to be about, you know. So, because that is one good thing about Mars in Libra is, you know, both having needs met, you know, and that's ultimately what Mars in Libra is trying to do, is like, well, I don't have to have my way first because maybe I'll have my way next, and, you know, it's about compromise and even a blending of needs that isn't, that's satisfying. Like a compromise always sounds like you're missing out somehow, but allowing that to come forward too out of some of the tension, so that the tension is trying to create a resolution, and allowing that. And that's why you want to have your ego out of it, so that that resolution can come, because it's going to come anyway, so why have there be a fight before all the resolution? So okay, so hang in there with May, and enjoy the power that's coming and the excitement of that Mars forward. And if you need me, want to do a session, my website, lunamichaels.com, and I have a phone number there that you can reach me to on my website. And I hope you all have a great month of May. Bye for now.